So as an example, I know more about how I'm going to run my business in St. Louis, Missouri, right, and some of the the traffic patterns and anything cultural associated with St. Louis, the history, than a bureaucrat in Washington D.C. And again, that's nothing against the bureaucrat. It's just very, very difficult, for that bureaucrat to have that same knowledge. So we want to extract as much of that market knowledge as possible, but that market knowledge exists, closer to where it's actually occurring, not through a centralized authority that has some grand plan. I mean, we know these things don't work because they were tried in China, they were tried in Russia with, these very, very long-term economic plans. They didn't work, right? These countries grew and prospered when what happened? We threw those plans out. But we've actually been doing the opposite in the United States. We're centralizing more and more. The federal government is growing larger and larger, and there's a price to pay for that, right? And I don't mean a financial price. There's a price to pay for that because you lose control. What were we talking about earlier? You're losing that individuality because someone else is making decisions for you or imposing rules and regulations on top of you or your community, and it's very, very difficult to do that. And then you have what I'll call the law of unintended consequences, where like, oh, okay, we've got this plan for you, and then it completely falls apart. Well, because you didn't know A, B, C, and D related to the decision you made, because it was very difficult for you to know that. So prescription number one, if we want to take anything out of that, is think decentralization, not just so much from a currency perspective or digital ledgers. Think about it just from a governance perspective. Think about moving these decisions closer to where they actually impact the people.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I had a chat with one of my good friends who also appeared on one of our episodes, and I was talking about how I could take example like in Japan, or I could even take the EU for example. There are so many wealthier nations, let's say in the EU, that are subsidizing for the poorer countries, and that creates a lot of frustration amongst either both sides, I guess, because the wealthier nations, people are paying taxes there, saying, why do I have to pay for roads and bridges in some other country that has no economic benefit for me? And then and also on the poorer side of things is that they're always giving handies, and they're not giving the right to improve or grow themselves, right? So
Well, I mean, you figure it out, but then give them the ability to figure it out, right? Give them the individual rights to figure it out. Don't get in their way.
yeah, exactly. So I think the central government's role should be more about refereeing rather than like being the parent and be doing everything for them, right?